Arc Titans, you are all sleeping on this S tier build that completely changes the outcome of Trials matches in seconds. Most of you guys are running Citans, Dune Marchers or Peacekeepers, and while all of those are great options, none of them have the potential to turn a game on its head with one singular play. In this build, we managed to make the strongest PvP class in Destiny even more deadly. There's a whole host of synergy here between our exotic armor, the Synthoceps, and our melee, the Ballistic Slam. Our aspects and our fragments here all stack and can lead to a chain of events resulting in you being able to destroy enemies with one punch, one by one reliably, or even destroy all three enemies together with just one slam. And yes, the one-hit KO punch has more range than any pellet shotgun in the game currently. This build is just absolutely bonkers. As strong as Citan's is, it's an extremely passive playstyle to lane in the back of the map. If you're looking to change the course of a Crucible game with just one aggressive play in seconds, then this is the build for you. Dim link for the build will be in the Discord, link for which is in the description or comments below. I want to give a big shout out to Merlin, who's my Trials carry partner and whose footage I'm using in the background. Without him, I wouldn't be able to bring you this video today. This build is one of the main reasons we've been able to carry many people to the lighthouse. That's how powerful it is. Let's get into it. So our main ability that we are using here is going to be Ballistic Slam, which after sprinting and jumping up in the air, lets you slam down and damage enemies nearby. The exotic gauntlet Synthoceps provide a ton of benefits to your melee, which includes Ballistic Slam. First and foremost, it increases your basic melee range to 7 meters, which is crucial because after you land from your Ballistic Slam, it knocks enemies back. It's actually quite difficult to aim with your shotgun, so instead the increased melee range makes it so easy to just punch the person straight after to start the chain of events. Its second effect, Biotic Enhancement, doubles melee damage in PvP for a whole 8 seconds if surrounded by 3 or more enemies. If a team is bunched up together, then your Ballistic Slam damage is doubled and you can just one-shot everyone with a singular Ballistic Slam. The more impressive thing about Biotic Enhancements is that the double damage buff lasts for a massive 8 seconds even after there aren't 3 people bunched together. So even if your Ballistic Slam doesn't kill all 3 people and say kills one of the 3 people, then on the next 2 people, you'll still have a one-hit KO melee with well over 7 meters of range, allowing you to carry on the sequence of events to one-hit KO everyone. The key aspect here, Knockout, synergizes with Synthoceps and makes your melee even more overpowered. Knockout is activated for 6 seconds when you break an enemy shield, which happens with your initial Ballistic Slam. With Knockout, your melee kills actually regenerate health, so you can keep going on your punching spree. They also deal 25% more damage when it's activated, and they also increase your melee lunge distance. And yes, this stacks with Synthoceps' increased melee range, so the new melee range becomes something close to 8 meters with both of them. That's more range than any pellet shotgun currently in the game, and with the way that melee attacks teleport your character forward and back, it becomes so hard for the opponent to hit you. Now, what about if 3 people aren't stacked together and you can't activate Biotic Enhancements on your Synthoceps? Well, the build can still set up one-hit KOs very easily thanks to our fragments. Merlin in a Trials game, especially when I die quickly, gets put into a 1v2 or a 1v3 scenario quite often. He then looks for a singular person he can Ballistic Slam, rather than waiting for 3 people to bunch up, which is unlikely. It's also safer as they're not going to team shoot you out of the sky. Once he slams that one person by themselves, he's activated Knockout, and if the person melees him back once being slammed, which is the natural instinct for most people, then he also has Spark of Feedback activated, which increases melee damage even further and stacks with Knockout. So now he punches back with a melee with around 8 meters of range, finishes off the person who got Ballistic Slam, regenerates his health, and can go on a one-hit KO melee punching spree that has more range than every pellet shotgun in the game. It's so broken, and he himself has managed to turn around so many Trials games doing this when he's carrying. So what happens when the person doesn't melee you back and you don't get Spark of Feedback activated? Well, then you can use your primary weapon to do the tiniest bit of chip damage. Merlin uses a hand cannon to body shot the opponent from the hip or ADS, and then he can go for the punch straight after. And thanks to Knockout, the tiniest bit of chip damage is enough for him to finish off the majority of their health with a melee. And then some quick chip damage from the hip followed by another melee. Again, very easy to do and can lead to triple kills very quickly. In terms of the rest of the Arc 3.0 build, I'm running Towering Barricade, Strafe Lift, and Storm Grenades. We've talked about Knockout as our first aspect. The second aspect I'm running is Touch of Thunder, which makes your Storm Grenade the most powerful grenade in PvP currently. I then run Spark of Feedback as discussed before, Spark of Resistance, which when you're near 2 enemies gives you 10% damage resist and can help save you in those melee battles. Spark of Magnitude to increase the duration of our Storm Grenades, and finally Spark of Recharge so that whenever we are critical health, which happens a lot in PvP engagements, we can gain our melee and grenades back even quicker. In terms of stat distribution, I would recommend 100 strength first so that you can ballistic slam and make use of this build as much as possible. Then in close second, 100 resilience to allow you to spam your barricades more often, which seems to be the meta currently in PvP. Recovery in a close third, and it's going to be very important so that you can get back into engagements as quickly as possible. And then finally, you probably want a mixture of discipline and intellect so that you can get your grenades back and your thunder crash in a reasonable time frame. Finally, mobility is your lowest priority here, as low mobility is actually quite helpful for Titan skating. For your mods, the main mod to recommend here is on an Arc class item, Outreach, which when you use your barricade will give back melee energy. Having 2 of these is very useful and gives back 16% melee energy for using your barricade, so you can use your ballistic slam more often. Otherwise, I'm running the typical powerful friends, Radiant Light for the stat boost, Quick Charge, High Energy Fire, and the relevant targeting and dexterity mods. For weapons, I'd highly recommend pairing this build with at least one close range option like a shotgun or a sidearm or SMG, as your ballistic slam will end up getting you into a lot of CQC battles. So go try out this Synthoceps ballistic slam build. It is absolutely nuts and can turn around games in 1 second. If you liked what I talked about today, remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more upcoming Destiny content as we go into 2023. I'm Mr. On It, and that's it for today. Peace out, guys.